Hello, listeners. My name is Ian Outkirk, and I am a training facilitator in management as well as customer relations. This section is Part 3, Section C of the Supervisory Management lesson, which continues to look at the last two principles of management, that is, directing and controlling. While still under the principle of directing, I would like to touch on the aspect of coaching. Unlike training, coaching is carried out daily with staff, especially with certain members who are not performing at the level expected. Invariably, these individuals do not come and tell you that they are having difficulties. However, by walking about and observing, you might be able to show the way for individuals to perform at exceptional levels. The first thing one needs to know in the act of coaching is that persons vary in the knowledge they have and the inability to apply it to certain situations. Therefore, one has to bear in mind that while someone will be able to apply, create and evaluate what is being told to him or her, others might only be able to recall and just understand what is being said. Knowing this, some patience will have to be exercised when explaining procedures or processes to a member of staff in a work situation. Some persons will have to be shown or told about a procedure more than once and probably from different angles. There are many benefits if a coaching session is carried out in a proper manner. Some of these concern bringing out the unique potential of individuals and promoting the development of new skills. Just remember that in coaching, prepare well by having accommodative settings, a job breakdown, and an instruction plan. Also, present well by telling, showing, and explaining. Another important area under directing is motivation. From the start, let me say that you cannot directly motivate someone or a group. Underline directly. You have to create an atmosphere when you have realized that a need has arisen for that atmosphere to be created. And on realizing that there is a need, you have to put into place several factors that would trigger a drive for that individual or group to create an action or series of actions that would ultimately arrive at some form of satisfaction. That is the recognition of the need drive satisfaction factor. So in repeating what I just said, so you will get it clearly, if you sense there is underperformance, determine where the need or needs lie so you can attend to it to increase the performance. Factors such as noise nuisance, ventilation, lighting are a few of many contributory factors. Aside from the needs factor, certain attributes are required to succeed at motivation, and these are 1. Being a people person, 2. Being positive in one's outlook, 3. Being decisive, and 4. Being a moral builder. Not to be forgotten is the creation of an atmosphere towards motivating a group or single person that I touched on earlier. Areas that can help in that atmosphere creation would include the following: frequently rewarding tasks that were well done, encouraging group and teamwork, being a regular coach, and empowering workers. A big plus in the mastering the art of motivation would be to study the thoughts of two management theorists, Abraham Maslow and Frederick Herzberg. Maslow noted that workers have certain needs that require satisfaction before the workers would have a desire to perform any duty. Maslow ranked these needs in a hierarchy starting at the bottom with basic needs such as air, water, and shelter, and rising to a top level called self actualization. Concerning Herzberg, the other theorist, this expert's theory states that you need to go beyond certain factors, such as working conditions and salary, which he called hygiene factors, to prompt someone to go beyond the norm. These factors, he said, related to areas such as advancement in the workplace, achievement, and recognition. I will look at these two theories in detail in another podcast. To close off on motivation, just remember to be aware of workers' conditions, tools, and rights. In another word, needs. If they are not addressed, there is a possibility that they could lead to a certain amount of demotivation. Communication is also a part of the directing principle. If not done properly, persons may not do what is communicated to them in a proper manner, or they may just refuse to act on what is required. Therefore, it is imperative that the right words are used and the right manner of communication or communicating is done. Remember that communication can move either upward, downward, or laterally, and can be oral or written, depending on what is to be communicated, with both types having their own advantages and disadvantages. In this area of advantages and disadvantages, just remember that oral communication can be appraised on the spot, but difficult to check if contradictory claims arise, and in the written form, communication is easier to disseminate, but could pose problems if there is excessive legalism and disputes. When communicating, confirm that the receiver understands the message. This is necessary in order that any misunderstandings can be cleared up early. Be also aware of the receiver's reply to determine if the message was understood. Remember to limit what may be incorrectly perceived by the receiver due to differences in education, thought patterns, and upbringing. Finally, the sender can ensure the effectiveness of a message if he or she avoids confrontational language, command or mistrust statements, and blaming statements also if the message given was not done effectively. Two other elements of directing are problem solving and decision making. These two elements are related. However, there is a little difference between the two, and that difference concerns the immediacy of the solution. Problem solving concerns day-to-day problems that arise in the workplace, whereas decision making concerns deeper problems that would require long-term strategies to fix. Let's first look at problem solving. When a problem first arises or develops, one needs to get the facts. This is imperative. Without the facts, you would not know how to progress in dealing with the problem, and if an effort is not made to get all the facts, you are off to a bad start in solving your problems. Further, when the facts are obtained, you have to ensure that they are quantifiable, measurable, and provable. In other words, have you collected enough data? And are you able to determine if more data from other sources are necessary? The data collected must also be from reliable sources. Having received all the facts in the manner required, these facts will have to be analyzed, and in carrying out an analysis, one has to look at all the issues in order that the main problem, along with any other, can be identified. At this stage, a solution would need to be arrived at through the development of ideas. One would need to be a little creative in thoughts to get the right solution. When selecting a solution, ensure that the problem is not shifted to another area. The next step in the problem-solving cycle is instituting the solution which must be monitored and reevaluated to determine that the solution is working. Keep checking for the final podcasts in this series, where decision making would be looked at as well as the last principle of controlling. Remember to send any comments and be sure to look at my earlier related podcasts concerning making the change, the organization, and my earlier talks on the principles. Thank you.